Yo, today I'm going to be showing you how to make Nemzzz type beats from scratch, as not only have I had multiple Nemzzz remixes and TikToks go viral, but I've also had Nemzzz DM me multiple times looking for beats. So I'm going to show you the whole process. Now listen, I'm using different microphone settings right now because I can't lie, I've always lacked on mic quality. Someone in my last video left this comment, so I am trying to get some better mic quality for you, man. If anyone has some feedback on what I need to change in the quality, please don't just say make the quality better. If you know about mics, then tell me about compressor settings, threshold settings, things like that. Also, one last thing, I actually have a brand new release on Spotify, again under SlipperyHaze. It's a TikTok remix that I released and now it's getting released to all streaming platforms. So for all the people that really f with me, I'd appreciate it if you could just like the song on Spotify, maybe add it to a playlist or two. It's a free way you can support me. If you've never bought any of my kits or anything, this is something that you can do for me. Link for the song is in the description, or you can simply just search SlipperyHaze. You can follow me over there too. Let's get into this. Nemzzz type beats are kind of defined by the iconic jazz infused samples, along with a Spins 808 on top of some drill drums. His go-to producer is Zell, who has produced most of his hit songs and has produced every single song on his upcoming mixtape. So we need to start there. We need to start with the melody. Also, the BPM for these type beats is normally between 150 to 160. There's kind of two approaches to these melodies. They're either like samples or, like I said, some sort of jazz infused Rhodes kind of piano styled. I've done some videos on sampled stuff for Nemzzz before, so today we're gonna go with the Rhodes. I'm gonna show two techniques for making these. The first one being from scratch. In my opinion, it's very difficult to recreate the sound of a real Rhodes piano and those kind of jazzy instruments. The best VST that I've ever used or come close to sounding like a real Rhodes is Lounge Lizard. I've previously used this on my channel. Maybe do a little flashback thing here. Yeah, no, that sounds clean. All right, so unfortunately, I only had a free trial of it and I no longer have the VST. So I'm going to be using a very cheap version on Xband 2, which, like I said, most people can get. And the easiest way to make these melodies is come up here to your stamp tool and just click minor ninth. I'm currently in E minor, so I'm just going to slap it on E. And then one thing, once you stamp something in on FL Studio, whenever you go to move it, it moves it as a group. You highlight everything and press Alt and G, that will ungroup the chord, so then you can move notes down. So we're going to clone the E note into a bass note. We're also going to highlight everything and press Alt and S, and then you're just going to want to pick the strength of your strum. Next, I'm literally going to come back up into a stamp chord. Going to click minor 7th, and let's try somewhere like here. Again, Alt and G, ungroup them. Going to pitch that one up. Then we're going to come over, we're going to click stamp again, minor 7th, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once again, ungroup, pitch up again, and maybe pitch the A down. And then after that, we can kind of just like add some top notes. Like I said, I don't think I can actually create a realistic Rhodes sounding melody. So I'm actually going to go to Splice. And believe it or not, one of Nemzz's last songs that just got released, Els, is actually a splice loop. More often than not, people are using samples for these type of melodies because, like I said, it's very hard to recreate these sounds without using the actual instruments themselves. And Splice is completely royalty free. So as a music producer, I'm going to use all tools available to me to make my production as good as possible. And how do you find these type of loops? I normally just come up here and either type in jazz, that's pretty crazy. Or you can even type in like soul. You know what I'm saying? This video is not even sponsored by Splice, but I genuinely use Splice quite a lot. So we have just taken in this melody, the first one that I found on Splice. I think this melody is insane. So this is going to be the starting point for my melody, but I'm going to add other assets to make this a unique melody to myself. First being this little jazz ride that I found, and I just literally want it as simple as the smallest texture, but you know I love textures. Now I want some sort of chimes. I want something like this. That is way too loud. We are going to put it down to like 3%. Very, very minuscule in the beat. I kind of like this jazz percussion. I feel like I could use this in the beat. Get it down to like there. Again, very subtle. But you can hear it right underneath the melody. I really like this. I feel like we can have that as like a little, nearly like a transition in between each 8-bar. Ooh, that's smooth. Now listen, would it be one of these kind of jazz beats if we didn't have... Now listen, this sounds very dry and not great right now. It was sounding very mono, so we are stereo shaping it. Of course, swamping it in that nice Valhalla reverb. But then also using Gullfoss and taking out some of that harsh frequencies. So yeah, if I was making Nemzzz type melodies, this is how I'm going about it to make the best, to make sure that I have the best sounding melody. Once again, royalty free. I don't need to use other people's loops. I don't need to use actual samples to get sample clearance. For an Nemzzz type beat, it would simply just be this standard drill pattern. With a spins 808 on top of it. That's why we want to stand out a little bit. I'm going to try and make this sound a little bit different, but yet still giving that Nemzzz type beat energy. You man know I'm hood trap to the world. So we are going to make this hood trap, but still Nemzzz type beat. We're going to be using all drums from my hood trap drum kit. I've been using this for literally everything all 2024. Just going to copy and paste this over. It's going to be our hood trap bounce. And then we're going to come in here to our counter snare, in which we're going to put in the drill bounce. I'm going to clone it over like this. But what you're going to see me do is I'm going to bring the velocity down. Like something like this maybe. I don't really know, to be honest. I think that kind of works. So I'm going to delete that. Just copy paste this over. Something like that for the clap pattern. I've shown this a couple of times, but this is actually how I find out my bass notes. So instead of EQing out the bass, I'm going to pull the bass like this and only have the bass playing. I'm going to drag this down here, solo it. I'm going to consolidate this track. Then I'm going to open it up in Edison. This is a trick that I've been doing for, I'm not even joking, probably 3 years. I'm going to open an audio editor, come into tools, convert to score, and dump to piano roll. And voila, just like that, these are the bass notes for the beat. Take out the bass. And then you literally just put an 808 on top of these bass notes that you have in the background. Now, for these beats, make sure you're using a punchy spins 808, man. They need to be punching. The drums need to be punching on these beats. I'm using the go-to 808 I have in the hood trap drum kit. I don't need to mix it. I don't need to do anything to it. It's just a punchy spins 808. It's perfect. Bass changes. Probably get some open hats on the 808s. And then I'd probably arrange it something like this. I'd probably just have the piano playing on its own for the intro. Would I put it for a 16? I'd probably put it something like this. Probably pull the 808s here. Maybe something like... And then for the end, could probably pitch it down an octave. Probably have a pitch down with just the drums playing, something like that. For a little variation before it comes back into this. And that's how simple these beats are to make from scratch. Yes, this is from scratch, even though I'm using Splice, it's still from scratch. Listen, if you're new to the channel, I would appreciate it if you can make sure you're subscribed. If you're an OG, make sure you're hitting the like button for me. Also leave a comment what you think about the mic quality, if I need to revert, go back to my old one, or if this is a little bit better. I feel like this low-key sounds a bit cheap. But anyway, run me up on Instagram and TikTok, because they're the only two things I care about. I'm out. Good luck to you later. Bow.